Hi, welcome to the notes on circumference and area of a circle. You may already be familiar with this, but we're going to go over circumference and area of a circle to refresh your memory on that, and then I think that will help with the rest of this chapter as well. So the circumference is the distance around a circle. I like to think of it, it's kind of like the perimeter of a circle. Okay, so that's the circumference, and the formula for circumference is C is equal to 2 pi r, or you can think of it as the circumference is equal to diameter times pi. So both of those, mean the same thing, since we know that 2 times the radius actually gives us the diameter. And one thing to remember with circumference is the units are going to be plane units, like meters or inches. They won't be squared like you would for area. So the next is the area of a circle, is how much space the circle takes up. And the formula for that is pi r squared. Okay. You want to pay attention on these problems if it's asking you to leave the answer in terms of pi, or if they're asking you to round to the nearest tenth, then you would actually multiply by pi and then round your answer to whatever decimal place it's asking for. One thing to keep in mind is you may have used 3.14 for pi in the past. Unless the directions specify for you to do that, you shouldn't use 3.14. It'll throw off your answer quite a bit. So generally, you use the pi button on the scientific calculator, and that will keep it more accurate. The next definition here is a diameter is a segment that contains the center of a circle and has both endpoints on the circle. And so an example of that would be if I draw this circle and this is my center of my circle. If I have a line through that center and say A is here and B is here, I could call AB a diameter. Okay, and the next word here is a radius. And a radius is a segment that has one endpoint at the center and the other endpoint on the circle. So in this case, if this is our circle, then here is my A, here is my B, and I could say that AB is a radius. Okay, so then if we actually solve for some of these different things here, the first thing it's asking us to find the circumference in terms of pi. So again, big thing on this is just paying attention. Are they giving me the radius or are they giving me the diameter? And do they want my answer in terms of pi or not? So in this case, in terms of pi, I know my formula for circumference is 2 pi r. And I know the radius, so I can plug in for that. When I plug something into something else's place, I like to put parentheses around it. And if I multiply 2 times 6, then I get 12 pi, since I'm leaving it in terms of pi. And then I do put units with that, which is just plain meters. Okay, next up, again, like we said at the top, you can think of circumference as 2 pi r, or you can think of circumference as diameter times pi. They mean the same thing. If I think of it that way and I know the diameter, I know is 8, then I can substitute that in and I just get 8 pi, and in this case, inches. Okay, on example 2, it says find the circumference rounded to the nearest tenth. So again, same formula, but now when I plug that 12 in for r's place, I need to go ahead and multiply 2 times pi times 12, and rounded to the nearest tenth is 75.4 meters. Okay, and again, I'm going to put a little note here to use the pi button and not 3.14. Okay, so we'll put that as a little reminder. On B, the diameter is 26, and we know circumference is diameter times pi. And so 26 pi is my diameter, but if I went around to the nearest tenth, I would multiply that using the pi button and get 81.7. Oops. And that is inches. Okay. From there, on example 3, it says the circumference of a circle is 14 pi. What is the radius and what is the diameter? So in this case, again, here's my 2 pi r. Plug in what you know and solve for what you don't know. In this case, the circumference is 14 pi. And different ways you can deal with this. I'm just going to go ahead and divide by 2 on each side. And in doing that, I end up with 7 pi is equal to pi r. Okay, from there, I can go ahead and divide by pi on both sides. And when we do that, the pi's cancel out and we're left with r is equal to 7. And that one did not have units included with it. So we can come up here and say the radius is 7, and then we know that the diameter is 2 times whatever the radius is. So we know that gives us 14. Okay. From there, on example 4, it says find the area in terms of pi. So in this case, we have pi r squared as our formula. And we're substituting our 3 in. Make sure you're squaring the 3, not just multiplying by 2. So 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9 pi. We're leaving the answer in terms of pi. We do want to include a unit, and that's going to be meters squared. On B, my formula for area is pi r squared. We don't have diameter as part of it like we do for circumference. So I need to find the radius. If I know the diameter is 4, I can divide by 2 and figure out that the radius is 2 inches. And so that's what I'm plugging in here. I get pi 2 squared, which is 4 pi, and that is inches squared. Okay. Down here on example 5, it says find the area to the nearest tenth, and I end up with pi 5 squared, and that is 25 pi meters squared. Okay, and then on B, again, I end up with the radius is 9 divided by 2, which is 4.5, and the area is equal to pi r squared, which is pi 4.5. That didn't turn out very well. And squared. And when I plug that in my calculator, I end up with 63.6 inches squared. Okay. And then the last example we have here is if they give me the circumference, they can ask for the area. So in this case, just pay attention. What are they giving me? What am I trying to find? Here's my circumference formula, 2 pi r. I know the circumference is 18 pi. So substitute that in. And from here, I can go ahead and divide by 2 on each side, which gives me 9 pi. I can go ahead and divide by pi on each side. And I get r equals 9. Now that I know the radius, the question is actually asking me for the area. which is pi r squared. So I can substitute that 9 in for r's place, and that gives me 81 pi feet squared. All right, let me know if you have any questions, and hope this section goes well for you.